Right. And I guess maybe I approach this a totally different way and everything.
That doesn't make it invalid.
So. No. Right. Because I was curious, I guess, like, assumed everybody was like me. No. I guess, because so when I approach like a villain is actually one of the things I want to talk about is that, like, obviously none of us are serial killers, but we can imagine. Sorry. That was perfect. I ain't nothing but a falling mic.
I needed Shatner's old toupee.
Isn't that
found it on eBay.
Very nice.
Will you pull that curtain over your left or right shoulder? Yeah.
Pull it.
Send it that way.
Send it.
Yeah.
Send it away from you.
Send it away. I think it's all the way it can.
Oh.
Yeah. No, it's okay. Oh, no.
Fool's errand.
Perfect.
Nope, it's all good.
What you did was excellent.
We never messed up anything here, Bards and Balladeers.
Am I too close?
You are too close. Get away from me.
No, we didn't mess that up.
I don't want to get to move away.
It's a good practice for later, guys.
And alimony, please. I need to survive. Joke's on you. You make more money than me now.
I don't.
Yes, you do.
I'm sure you both make more than me.
Oh, no. Do you make more than cheeseburger fry?
I get honey mustard with mine.
With your cheeseburger?
Yeah. It's not a good contract.
That's why she gets paid the big bucks.
God, I can't read it.
Oscar, you're the tallest. I just got comfortable.
What am I supposed to do?
Oh, my God.
I will feign ignorance and make him do it.
It's my business plan for first 28
casual.
years of my life.
I think we're all too. We had to shift
I shifted.
this way a little bit.
I don't move for no man.
Okay, that's all.
What?
I am no man.
I know.
Man. Damn it, he was ready for that one.
Yeah, it's okay.
Am I still too close?
Actually, no, not you. You can stay where you are. Now you're too close to me.
I move for no man.
Okay, we're good.
All right.
Sure?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, we're
I'll just
having a
move
great
closer now until you'll make you do that again.
time. Shoo.
Does that all count as
Yeah, that's
bull?
No, well, it's
Bull quacking?
Bull quacking. I mean, it's calming down, right? Yeah, it's calming down. We're good. We've already started this, you know.
The train is a rolling.
The train is a rolling. You can't stop this train. Stop this train.
Us now. Oh.
We're saving all this footage for behind the podcast.
Behind the podcast.
You have hearing issues.
I do. I'm getting old, man.
Behind.
Behind.
You did say behind in his defense, but it
I
did
didn't
not
say
sound like
behind.
Behind
Because that's redundant.
Is
No.
that the new Zeppelin from the German Zeppelin? But
That would be incorrect.
Which means correct.
the behind is very good, full of methane gas, though.
You all just found out that I can't do a German accent.
Fräulein.
Fraulein.
Eat them now. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
It's Austrian.
Hey,
Get your accent straight, man.
hey, like this, you know, some Austrians will decide that they rule Germany.
He's not wrong.
Don't throw history at me, yeah.
I mean, the historical fiction one I think has every right to.
No.
But as the fantasy sci-fi person, you get to say, you're behind me. I'm ahead of you, old man.
Your time has passed, old man.
I have the high ground.
You do. Don't do it, Anakin. We just got lights. You just got a new lightsaber.
I did.
Yes. It was very fanciful. It's very beautiful. I'd say show it, but you know,
It comes with the promotion. She's on the council now.
I am the council.
But you do not have the rank of master or knight. Jedi Knight. I forget. Anyways.
Either.
Yeah. But it's really cool. Like as much as it's all gimmicky and everything that Star Wars it was fun. It was really cool. Actually, they did a fantastic job of just laying out the architecture and making you feel like you're in another planet.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell are you talking about?
Star Wars Galaxy's
Edge at Disney World in Orlando.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's where we got a lightsaber. Got a whole video of her putting together. It's beautiful.
Okay.
We'll do a highlight reel later.
I cried.
Yeah, it was really beautiful what they said and everything.
Mm-hmm. Not like sobbing, cried, but like
you felt stuff.
Enough.
Yeah.
I was verklempt. Is that?
Yeah.
You were constipated?
No, verklempt.
That's what that means.
Not via the Saturday Night Live Mike Myers.
It's
a topic.
It came out of my mouth before I really had a chance to think it through. And that rarely happens for me.
Verklempt.
This is me editing.
Yeah. It's a me.
So, welcome to Bards and Balladeers podcast, everyone.
Hello, people.
Welcome. Yes. So today we... Sorry.
You're doing great.
Not just today, but every day. We are Bards and Balladeers. The podcast about story in all of its forms. I am Kate. I am a science fiction and fantasy author. We have
Rio, who is a fantasy author. We talk about Rio in the third person. That's the only type of books I write, or third person. Yeah.
And I'm Usger. I write historical fiction, nonfiction, some sci-fi, and some fantasy.
Yeah.
I also write checks, mostly fiction.
Check your can't cash.
Sorry.
Quack.
But yes.
Quacking all over the place today.
Oh. But here on this podcast, you can find us on many different platforms, including YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. And then also we have our own Discord channel. So feel free to join us there. We have the link below where you can ensue in our antics. We could see awesome memes and also deleted scenes. Is that what? Exclusive content? Mm-hmm. And right now we don't have any special events coming up. I would say that we are looking to do another live. What is it called? Live stream. A live stream. A live river.
Live babbling brook.
And no like topic decided at this time. I think last time we had a lot of fun just sort of talking about random things.
For the live stream, she means not this episode.
No, we planned this. We didn't decide just today what we're going to do. We had this,
not at all.
Yeah.
But today we're talking about
writing what you're not.
Oh, yeah. That's it.
Yes, that's a topic that we've been honestly really wanting to talk about for a while.
Yeah, kind of since the beginning we've been talking about this.
Jokingly,
Yeah, well, not even jokingly.
Well,
just,
kind of making fun of the idea that you can't. Not really.
Yeah, none of us here believe that you can't write anything other than what you're not, or I don't know how you be a writer then.
Honestly,
right, it's true.
Although sometimes like last week you would have seen with our guest or whenever we.
Yeah, we might air that next week. I don't know. Like it depends on what.
Oh, sure.
Just to space him out.
Sure.
Get right in front of his launch.
Sure.
So, Dave.
But. Dave Bruns, right?
David Bruns.
David Bruns. It's a good example of somebody that writes what they do know. I think having that is sort of a contrast to this one, because we all write characters that one are people that are not like us, but also I think because we just like varied people in our stories, and being able to explore not just different like diverse people, but also different sexes, different genders,
and different species even.
That too.
I mean, I do believe aliens are real, but
I mean, you know that because of what they did to you.
Yeah, I still walks funny.
Yeah.
A little bow-legged, but
But hey, 10 more years before you got to have a doctor do that again.
They did you a favor.
Fun day. Yeah, they're just helping stretch it out.
That's what they tell you anyway when they're about to. Anyway,
this is better for you than it is for me.
If that's how they go in, you've got real problems.
Or you're just a master at his craft. Yes. But yes, writing what you are not. Sane people, we are not.
No.
Yoda, I am. But one thing that interests me about this topic, kind of like what I said just a few moments ago, but the ability to, like, I'm a very empathetic person. Like that's, I think at my core, like emotional intelligence is something that I don't know, I guess. Do you always have a particular type of intelligence? Are you more leaning towards a type of intelligence because of the environment that you grow up in? I don't really know. But I just like character so much. We all know that that's my favorite pillar of storytelling. But I think that might be because of my level of empathy and how much I do like, I don't know, imagining other people, imagining other different scenarios that bring somebody to where they are. And so that's one reason why this topic intrigued me personally.
Yeah.
Was because I wanted to hear more about what do you guys think of when you think of other characters, since I know like plot and world building are more of your favorite things.
Well, according to you, I just think of voluptuous women and that like everybody is sexy and strong and muscular. And
Yeah. So he's writing what he's not.
My quote directly was, "Not everybody can be curvy."
Yes. They're built that way. It's just their normal shape. They're half beast. Shape. That is their beast portion of them.
Which is a fair bias. Yeah. I don't blame anybody.
No, but it's true. I mean, to that point, like all my characters are female, like all of them and everything.
I seem to remember there was one that wasn't.
Well, in the first one, yes.
There's a whole book named after it.
Yeah. But it's actually one of the best compliments I ever got from somebody who actually read it. They said they were a little bit concerned about females written from the male gaze and everything. And she said, you did a great job. Everything you did was fine. They treated them like real people. I'm like, yeah, because females are people too, so it's just one of those things where it's just like, people are varied. People are different in so many ways and everything. Male, female, it doesn't really matter as long as you're writing good characters, and they're likable and they do good things or what have you. Even if they don't do good things, you just write a good, compelling character, right?
Yeah.
That's the most important part.
And it's funny you say that because I see people, I see sometimes male characters written by women and no one's concerned about that, but I've read some real bad ones. I'm not saying that they can't do that. I don't believe that you can't write that, but yeah, like sometimes that concern is only a little unidirectional. So yeah, we're here to talk about all of it. And I know I was reading this, it was like a classroom exercise a few years back and they were talking about, like, how do you decide? It was like a debate, like a conceptual debate on like what's okay and what's not okay in society. And it followed this weird, very interesting progression of like, it would be a question that you think is a no brainer. Like, do you think it's okay to say something about someone they wouldn't say about themselves? And people would say, well, no. And then there was the question, okay, well, like, yeah, it evolves to this point where you're talking about someone who's been convicted of, like being basically a serial killer, like, 6 people and they say they're a good person. What would you say, like, oh, well, maybe it is okay to say maybe they're not. And it keeps going down this path of asking you a question you think is a no brainer and then challenging it with the very next question. So it just keeps you thinking. And I remember I sort of, I've asked this of a few people who kind of have that notion of like, you can't say something about someone they wouldn't say about themselves, which is where a lot of this idea that you can't write what you're not comes from, I think. And so I said, well, do you think that, so you think that you shouldn't be allowed to say something about someone they wouldn't say about themselves? And people, say, well, yeah. And I say, well, what would you say about people like that?
That's a good question.
Would they say it about themselves? And it's interesting to watch the logic train just like grind to a halt.
Right.
And
because they want to prove the point, but they can't because then they'll be disproving the point.
And, 95% of what happens is they get mad.
Yeah.
And 5% of the time they're like, huh. That's the reaction I go for. But, like, again, like I think we all believe you can write what you're not. And it's just kind of my own little
I agree.
way of connecting with that.
And mostly because I think that, like, as writers, like, we have to be humble individuals to a degree, like to surrender in a way to the work and the work being the craft. And I think that with like that question specifically, the people that would argue or get mad really struggle with like removing the ego from the question, right? And pushing the like personal bias aside. And I think that, with that said, like stereotypes historically have been so easy to fall into, like with writing something that you are not, because it's low hanging fruit, I guess, like at least that's how I feel about stereotypes. And I think people have gotten good about like veering away from stereotypes because they're harmful. And well, unless it's for like I'm not endorsing using stereotypes for like a comedic sense. It's not what I'm saying. But like there are certain times where archetypes, I guess, make sense to use versus stereotypes. But I do think like the humility that we have to bring when creating diverse characters, diverse meaning just something that isn't us, something that we kind of have to have. I don't know. I think.
Well, I think that humor is a way of putting that humility on display, which sounds like a contradiction in terms almost, but I feel like that's, I've heard a bunch of comedians talk about comedy, like what part of what they're doing is exploring edgy topics in a safe environment. So the audience goes there to sort of engage with sort of taboo subjects in a safe, controlled way. It's like an experimental way, like we're all going on this journey together. Obviously, that's not all comedy, but in that sense, I do sort of support stereotypes for comedic purposes because it sort of allows everyone to sort of examine the stereotype, and you can't examine it unless you can talk about it.
Sure.
And it's, examining something in a humorous way also renders it safe in a sense that, hey, like this isn't going to hurt anybody.
Right.
I mean, and some people always do get their feelings hurt, but,
right.
But you've all, by buying a ticket, you've showed up to this understanding of what it is,
I think that's something that Rio actually kind of taught me is that, I did have a lot of, I'll call them insecurities, from growing up and going into your, mid 20s that I feel like people will often get hurt by things that are said because of some kind of insecurity in themselves. Right.
Right.
But you kind of helped open my eyes to see that like everything's on the table. Obviously, like sometimes people do have things where they'll get hurt from it for reasons. But
that's if you that of a person, then it becomes an attack. Exactly. And that's the one thing I wanted to add to that. Sorry, but we can go and fish.
No. I kind of wanted to segue for you to take it away because I think it's a great concept.
Right. Because a lot of times people are like, oh, you can joke about anything. You can joke about anything. You really can. But being creative about the joke is what makes it funny. It's not like if you are just attacking for attacking's sake and you think it's funny because it's funny to you, whatever, that's not a joke. Like, that's just an attack and everything. But you can always say something in a creative way that makes it funny. A little turn of phrase, like getting around. Like, again, I was thinking of the Daniel Sloss thing. There's, if you ever seen Daniel Sloss, one of my favorite actors. Or excuse me, comedians, sorry.
Both.
Yeah, he does a little acting. He does this whole pantomime about Japanese reactions to because he says that Japanese only have two expressions, just like even and then like it's just like
he does the bit and it's genuine, like it's we're not making fun of any particular person, but
he's just saying like, and he likes that's what he can get out of people is that like that general like surpriseness out of people, and he does this whole pantomime, and if you got to watch, I think was it called X or I forgot. There's a newer one he did, and he goes to this whole pantomime of like, and they
don't even say it.
Just watch it sometime. But it's funny because it is ridiculous and it is a sensitive subject. But when we take, like you said, those sensitive subjects and kind of not make fun of them, but present them in such a ridiculous way that makes you laugh about that subject, then we can kind of, because we can get through it. And I can't remember what comedian said it was like one of the only ways we can get through like tragedies is through comedy. And sometimes laughing about these situations or make people laugh about these situations helps the healing. So
that's why when you said last week, what's the opposite of tragedy? I said comedy.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. And I think that, I like that this is coming up when we're talking about this episode, because I think it's really easy, again, even just from like a reader's perspective, to allow something to just immediately be like hurtful or racist or misogynistic or, we can easily put these labels on things, but like take a moment, read what it's saying, read between what it's saying, and again, not that I'm advocating for putting something out there that's like blatantly misogynistic, but from a writing like perspective, if it's topical and relevant to the story, maybe there's a purpose behind why it's being said, as long as like the story comes around. And
even if that purpose though is just accuracy, like as someone who writes historical fiction, I mean, I don't like make my stories about this stuff, but if it's not there at all, that's just not believable.
Right. And I think with Koya too, like I think she talks about it a lot, being small. She talks about it. No, it's you talk about it.
She's her own person.
Yeah.
She's just talking through you.
Right.
It's like Ghost.
I'm just a messenger.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think that's one of the reasons why like like I empathized with Koya quite a bit, being a small, woman. She's more minority than I am, but I mean, I did vibe with the Inca-ness of her because of, paternal relations and whatnot. But just being able to see a character without it being like blasted, like this is an independent woman character, and so I think that's really easy to fall into for marketing purposes, but from an authenticity standpoint, you just wrote a female character.
Yeah, I didn't write, and she's just an unequivocal ass kicker. Like, no,
TM.
I wrote what I thought would be a real person.
Yeah,
and that's really most of the secret for me is that you're writing a person. Even my villains are people and have understandable motives.
Right.
Even if you don't start out knowing what they are, or even if they're actually villains. Right. But yeah, she makes mistakes, and those mistakes a lot of the time are based on her background. And she kicks ass, and a lot of the time that's based on her background.
Right.
And just, everyone has something that's not about their background that's just, native to them and that they bring to the table. And I just try to, I think it's an Emerson quote. And I wish I've been trying to find which essay it's from.
Sure.
That I believe that if it's in the human experience, that with appropriate effort and time, it's within my ability to understand it.
Sure.
And I really think it's a lot better than giving up on that and saying, I don't inhabit those shoes. I can't speak about that.
Right.
Well, if you can't speak about that, then you can't give. Part of listening is speaking.
Right.
And speak your mind, say what's on your mind, say how you're perceiving things. And people can challenge that. And people ask me, do you use a sensitivity reader? And what I want to actually start saying is anyone who wants to be a sensitivity reader for me can buy my book.
Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely.
They can tell me where I'm going wrong.
Right.
Just like anyone else, because I don't necessarily want to privilege certain people with that role. I feel like everybody gets to be in that role because
fair enough.
I'm literally, if I'm writing what I'm not, I'm literally writing like all of my characters are not me.
Right. But don't we need a little bit more empathy? Like, isn't that a good thing?
Fuck him. Empathy is required for that exercise.
Right.
I really, if you don't mind, Oscar, because I know you jokingly say sometimes you do have empathy. He does, but it's not like we're kind of like on the opposite ends of the spectrum. But at the same time, like
I don't know what that
means. of empathy, he's not a sociopath.
He's like, I have lots of empathy, but I just don't know what that
trains a lot.
What I heard was like, like you have lots of empathy, and I don't.
No,
and I know that's not what you mean. So that just made me laugh.
Logic focused. God, no, I feel like I need to.
No.
You need a sensitivity trainer.
Apparently, yeah. I'm not good at this.
No. Finish your thought. It just made me laugh.
But just again, because the empathy divide. It's the name of the episode. Just kidding. It's not.
The empathy divide.
No, but also being like more logic driven, which does serve a purpose here, right? Because logically, like people will respond a certain way based on, history that they have as a character.
Right.
Where I was trying to go with this is that like your role playing background, I feel like I want to assume helped with this, but at the same time, I don't want to make that assumption. I'm more curious.
It absolutely helped with it.
Sure.
And I wouldn't even say I'm more logical. I'd say I think of myself as intuitive.
Sure.
Because who doesn't really?
Right.
But that's to say, intuitive always sounds great. But I actually do think that I'm more intuitive than logical because I go up against logical people all the time in games, debates, whatever. And it just doesn't go well.
Sure. I see what you're saying. I do.
But I feel like it's not a spectrum where if you're more of one thing, you're less of the other. It's more like the more you have of both qualities, the faster you're going to get towards like to be like more intuitive because you can actually integrate the two into one unified mode of knowing, but not fused. It's more integrated.
I think it's where you start from. I think that's a big thing. Like with your empathy and your intuition and everything, it's just different aspects of that.
What do you mean? I'm not like quite sure I'm following, but
Because like if you're a super empathetic person, like example A over here, you just approach with the understanding or the least, I don't even want to say like the leeway it takes to get to the understanding of the person or what they're trying to get across. When you're in a super logical place, it's almost like it can only be this because anything else, or like you have to understand their empathy, but you start with like what it has to be from the information I've given. You know,
sort of like you privilege one or the other over the other, which I actually don't do because, you know, if you're intuitive,
why are you so mean to me then?
Because it's logical and intuitive, and I just feel like I'm an emotional person. Yeah. No, I think that the difference really is empathy is about feeling what someone else is feeling, but and logic is sort of about, you know, addressing the objective facts as you encounter them.
Sure.
Where intuition comes in is more, you have access to both, but you can suspend them. You don't have to let either take control. Mm-hmm. You look at them both as, it's almost like what you see doesn't have to contradict what you smell.
Sure.
Like they're two different senses that are both trying to tell you something at the same time. Mm-hmm. More of one does not cost more of the other.
Right.
Sure.
And so it's kind of like that. And like logic and empathy don't contradict each other.
Right.
It just, there's often that sense of a fight between I feel this, but I know this. And you know, that kind those are always at war.
Two sides of a magnet.
Right. But there's almost always a third way where actually they both can cooperate.
Yeah.
Or total destruction. Yes.
And I find that informs my characters and, you know, the gaming background, to get back to your point.
Sure.
Definitely that helps the sort of logical side, and my background in, you know, studying things like psychology and stuff helps more with the empathic side, but I've always just sort of been intuitive. So like, I feel like I've built up both of those senses. I've honed them both, but the intuition is still what then harnesses them.
Interesting.
I like that. The intuition is almost like the glue sort of in a way,
mm-hmm.
where you can use both logic and empathy. I've never thought of logic, empathy, and intuition, like those three as being sort of like not different categories, but like different
like
sides of a coin.
Distinct modes of knowing. And by the way, intuition is separate from instinct in a pre-trans fallacy way. Like instinct can be wrong. It can be conditioned.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
By, you know, trauma, experience, whatever. Intuition, that's not how that works. And, you know, intuition
is learned and kind of honed over the years.
Intuition, you can hone your access to it and your perception of it and how to discern it.
Yeah.
And, you know, it could be argued that you can hone it, but it sort of, to me, seems more like a more spiritual sense. And instinct is more like, again, it has a similar feel. You're listening to it, but it's coming from a lower, like a bodily sort of place.
That's your lizard brain. You know, that's that thing that's like you're reacting. You hear something in the dark. That's the noise they never heard. You're running away from that.
Right.
But that's the thing. I think intuition, though, you can train intuition. And the fact of the matter is, like, when you go fishing and you know, or let's not even say fishing, let's say you're picking berries in the forest and everything, like, you know, if you know which berries are bad and which berries are good and you come to a new berry, you can possibly decipher if it's good or not, or the processes you would take to understand if it was good or not. At least that's what I feel like intuition can be.
Yeah, I feel like that's more like a combination of like the other three. That it's not so much intuition, but like that's a long discussion.
Okay,
like,
I also want to add, though, it feels like I just almost like, for your benefit, intuition is almost like that third eye. Like, and you're not training your intuition. You're training yourself to then hear and listen and explore that, have a trust with it, which is actually a big foundation for my magic system in my world. So I love that we're talking about this. It's also
a foundation for Buddhism and Hinduism,
for sure.
Christianity, Islam, whether or not they the dogmatic forms recognize it.
Sure.
But it's spirituality, right? In some way,
it's
shape,
what meditation is about, is honing that.
Oh, I love this.
But it's also what authenticity is about. So everyone at this table, I think, has a strong sense of intuition, even if we don't have like perfect definitions for it. because you don't have to have a perfect definition for how your muscles work to be an athlete.
Sure.
You know, because that's just a mental form of it.
Sure.
You know,
Again, like maybe I'm just, we won't spend more time with this, but maybe I'm just confused, not confused, but like, I feel like you cannot garner intuition without experience. And like, otherwise it's just instinct. Like you had to have some kind of experience or life to know intuition better. Otherwise, again, it's just instinct.
The shorthand I would say is that instinct is pre-rational.
Sure.
Intuition is transrational.
Yeah.
And they both appear the same because they're both irrational. It's that they're not logic centered.
Okay.
And so they're often interchanged in discourse. Now how that affects character and just like writing characters that I'm not, the way I define intuition is it's like common sense. I redefined it for one of my books that I was working on, which is the sense for that which things have in common.
Yeah.
And so my process there is, okay, I'm writing a human usually. But okay, what are the things that I have in common with someone in this position with this background? What are the things I could agree with them on? Sure. And even a character like Marius Gilbertson, which where you're like, he's that Dutch captain.
Oh,
where you're like, oh, I hate that guy.
Gross.
But it's like, but you know what?
He's a human.
He was, you know, he wasn't doing anything any more wrong than anyone else in that situation. Everyone in a contract was in a contract they agreed to, and they freaking robbed him.
Yeah.
He has a point. Much as you might have to like hate the guy, he has a point.
Right. Yeah. Right. And in a way, like logically, that all makes sense.
Yeah.
But no, I like what you're saying, but that, you know, that all of us to a degree have some level of intuition, whether or not we have an idea of how to define it. But that does, I think, play a big part of why we like writing such vastly different characters.
Right.
And something that, like you said, we are not. Like, we're none of the characters that we write.
Intuition is a bridge building exercise. How do I build a bridge between me and this character I'm writing? How do I build a bridge between that character and this character? You know?
Interesting.
And you have to build bridges to both of them from yourself.
Right.
Right. And I guess maybe I approach this a totally different way and everything.
That doesn't make it invalid.
So. No. I just, because I was curious, I guess, like, assumed everybody was like me. No, I guess, because so when I approach like a villains is actually one of the things I want to talk about is that, like, obviously none of us are serial killers, but we can imagine.
Sorry.
That was perfect. But so like, but we can. I almost think I feel like writing's a little bit like therapy, because we use these opportunities to take a chance with some of these ideas and everything. And like, I can think of a lot of like really morbid stuff and everything, but in no way is that something that is enjoyable to me. But if I can tap into that just for the sake of writing a character or whatever, that seems like, I guess maybe to your point, like authentic towards that character, you know, like something that like you just live in that moment for a bit, and maybe intuition's coming back from being that for a while, because I really feel like writing and creating characters and all this stuff is just creating, like, metaphysically, whatever you want to call it, these characters and these people in those moments and letting them just survive and live. And actually, like, because I had jokes sometimes that when I'm not writing, I feel bad about my characters because they're just sitting there just like looking around and like staring at the grass or something like that.
Like
because,
The Sims. Like
yeah, right.
Yes, yeah.
But it's, so I feel like being able to write something that you're not is just is a test. Like if we removed like our body from our consciousness and everything, we could be anything. Like it really, like this body defines us, yeah, but it also, our minds don't let that define us, kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's sort of the way the way a lot of the contemplative traditions look at it, which I'm not trying to drag it back to that.
Sure,
is that your mind is an expression of spirit, your body is an expression of mind, and it's like it's this downward causation in a sense, like a precipitate.
Yeah.
And so like if you stripped away body and mind and everything, you could be anything. The supposition is that you actually literally are. Yeah. But we won't get into that too much. It gets real deep.
That's another episode.
But basically, the upshot is that authenticity is a creative act. Right. And so the authenticity in creating those characters isn't like, they're authentic. It's that you are authentically you're contacting that part of you that authenticity stems from in order to understand and therefore create them.
Right.
And that's why it feels fulfilling. Is that anything authentic you do, and feels like a fulfilling creative act.
Right.
And that you do, we all know authors who kind of like, they write from out here rather than in here.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're just sort of like, I'm getting burnt out.
Because it doesn't feel like you always say, like it doesn't feel authentic, and you get bored by it because not that everything has to be like 100% like realistic or what have you, but there gets to a point where it's just like, it doesn't, you feel like you're just writing just stereotypes then at that point. And they only work at certain points, but like not as main characters. I don't know where I'm going with this, but like, it just doesn't feel right.
No, I'm with you because intuitively, like it feels wrong, well, at least for you. For some people, they might thrive on it.
Yes, our serial killer friend over here.
Yeah. No,
what?
but I just really enjoy the topic of intuition is coming up with character. And well, I assume, writing what you're not is mostly fueled by character. Like that's the kind of route that we're kind of going with this.
Also not a planet.
You were not, no, or a planner.
Or X-Wing fighter, yeah.
But for, as somebody that, I love character, I said that at the beginning of this episode, you were right that it does feel just very fulfilling to write just not even like well thought out characters, but characters that are just true to themselves, even if they do, like Dennis said a couple weeks back, like even if they do things out of character, like they're still sort of in line with that character, like a certain like cone, of actions that are available to them. But I think that, I learned from that episode of, it made me think about character more, and like the options that they have actually is something that I hadn't thought about all that much, more so like just thinking about what a character would do based on their character. That's a little tangent, but
that's a really good thing that Dennis said, though. I agree.
Yeah.
Like, we all think that's that straight line that there you have to follow, but there is like a cone, but there is still outside the cone that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Like,
and even when you're just sitting there being authentic, it doesn't mean you're doing it 100% of the time. Sure. It means that is your general tendency.
Sure.
But there are always little influences pulling you this way and that, even just 0.5% or something.
Sure.
That does that make you inauthentic? No.
Right.
It just means, it's like imperfections. It's impurities.
Or where
impurities don't make a diamond and emerald.
It's also where you're at the time. Like if you wake up in the morning, you might be a little bit more snippy. That's not out of character. Even if you're like the nicest person ever, it's just mornings aren't good for you. That kind of like idea.
I can relate to that.
Yes, you're very much a night owl. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd never really thought of writing what you're not in this aspect. Really. I just enjoyed writing other characters. And I think you guys probably feel the same way.
Oh, absolutely.
Where it's whether or not it's a little bit of therapy. I don't know. I'll do a lot of character development outside of the final product, which maybe you guys do, maybe you don't. I don't really know.
You have more of the iceberg underwater.
Yeah. And so I have a lot written for my characters that will never go in the final book, but it was very important for me to go through it to discover like who they were, how do they respond to things. And I love that kind of stuff. Like I could do that all day and then, publish the thing that will never show all of that.
We could use that information.
It's true. Yeah. It's true. But it's also very important for me, to know how they would respond like in the main story.
And, kind of to that point, it's making me think about a couple of things that I wrote. I've got one gay character that is not explicitly called out as gay. So y'all have to guess who it is.
He's trying to making me guess, and I can't.
Is his name Bosger?
Bosger is the best name.
Boy, my writing career would be over with that one name alone. Yeah. It's totally accurate. But if some person, if some gay person, male, female, any kind of sexual orientation said, but do you have a sensitivity reader for him? Because you're not gay. I'm like, you're not gay in the 17th century either.
It's
Sure.
true. It's a very different environment.
Yeah, because like culturally, like there might be much bigger motivations for this character that outweigh that, and or that affect it differently than anyone currently alive would understand.
Mhm.
You know, I my first mate Ajuban, he's a black character from Nigeria, ex-slave. No, I'm none of those things. Neither are you.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
And he's a great character. Like the way that you let him shine just as himself is fun to watch.
And you know, that does count, even if you think we're all just white people, which we're not really. But like
Right.
the fact that you
How dare
think
you.
that doesn't, well, but you're a white girl, that's an easy way to dismiss it.
Yeah.
Right.
But, you're reading these from the standpoint of someone with a different, a multicultural background. How many people back then even had multicultural
I mean,
backgrounds?
it's true, yeah.
Like,
Right.
it was growing very rapidly at that time. But,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, these characters are nothing like they would be today
Right.
Right.
But
for
also
anyone.
being a writer is that study and exercise on observation.
Right.
So like, and I get it. Like, there are feelings and stuff that do run deep with people who are certain like types or have been treated certain ways. But then again, like to say that you've never been treated poorly or that you've never been ostracized for something or any of that stuff, that extends into a lot of different avenues that we can all like, we know, like if you ever like got beat up, you can relate to someone who also gets beat up. You don't have to be like that specific beat up, it hurts either way, it's just
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, you don't know the intricacies of one person's problems. They don't know the intricacies
Yeah.
of yours. And that's not a crime.
right.
And part of, I think, the exercise of doing all this is to help everyone explore it, just
Yeah.
like they do at the comedy club. It's just a
Oh, yeah.
different way of doing it.
Nice,
Right.
nice bring around. That's like with that secular comedy, it's
Yeah.
like you're
Yeah.
bringing it right around.
Call back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like both of us play piano
Mhm.
and none of us, I mean, unless you're holding a secret, but I've never been on like an orchestra, like theater playing in front of people because I'm not that good, but I can understand how much work it would get to get there because I know how much work it took to get me where I am now. Like, it's a exponential avenue, I still have that feeling knowing that I'm only this good and I would need to get better,
Sure. How did piano tie into that?
No, not just saying I'm not a like, what is Oh, hi.
Determined. Wow. I saw
Yeah.
this nose coming out of the curtain.
She doesn't like
Sorry.
pianos either.
No.
No, I'm just saying like I'm not a world-class pianist, but
Oh, sure.
I have a world. No.
Stop it.
I'm not a world-class musician, but I know what it might feel like from just doing like what do you call them when you do
Sure.
little
Recitals.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Couldn't think of the word. Yeah, but there's just exponential growth to that, like
Mhm.
and getting past that feeling of like I hated like doing theater. I didn't hate doing theater. Sorry. It was very difficult to get on stage when doing theater. But once you're on stage, it's this crossing point and you just act,
Mhm.
And so I feel like it's the same thing. Like, I don't know what's like, hello kitten, to be in a movie, like with a cat,
Mhm.
but I have an idea what it's like.
Right.
know?
Right.
And if
You
we,
can imagine.
and if we can just like push it to like that next level, you can kind of understand. So
Mhm.
Yeah. And it's about, it's like you said, it's about observation and trying to understand.
Right.
And, if you write something, let's say you're writing something about a ship or something, and someone's like, did you get, the equivalent of a sensitivity reader for that?
Sure.
I'm not trying to crap on sensitivity readers, but I like the concept. But yeah, it's more the people who want to police like whether or not you have to do that.
right.
Right.
Telling
I'm
you
not
you
saying there's no
must.
value in doing it. Yeah, like
Yeah.
do that. You will learn something if you talk to people who have a different experience from you. But it's all part of this same research that's about like asking questions outside of your own bubble and
Mhm.
listening to the answers. That's just what research is.
Yeah.
And for anyone who wants to assume that you didn't do enough research before they've really looked at what you've done.
Right. Or actually read it all.
Right.
Like that's
Right.
the thing too. They'll pick one
Right.
thing out of it
Mhm.
and be like, no, like,
but
Right.
also if they do look at it and they do think that, that doesn't mean you have to do it. It's like, if I'm running an RPG, I might get things wrong, why does it have to be better if I put a book out? They're both creative acts that I'm choosing to share with people. Mm-hmm. At what point do you hit that level where, I'm sorry, that's unacceptable to put out into this much of the world versus that much of the world without this kind of gatekeeping?
Mm-hmm. And that's, I think, thank you for saying the word gatekeeping, because it felt like I can't speak for any sensitivity readers. I have zero experience with them.
You can be one and then speak for yourself.
It's true. It's true.
Are you a person with Peruvian lineage?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, she should talk about your Koa.
Koya.
God damn it.
Get her name right.
Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry.
I didn't mean to interrupt you either.
No,
it's okay. I mean,
treat me poorly.
I don't know what I was saying.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Yes, you can interrupt me.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Moo.
That didn't need a knock.
Beautiful. Now I deserved it. For some reason, I deserved it.
You said you didn't mean to speak for all sensitivity readers.
Yes, I don't mean to.
No.
But I thought it was going to come back to me.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, so did I. But
yeah, no, it was. Thank you for saying it, though. I don't want to speak for all of them.
Just the bad ones.
No, more so just like everything has a time and place, right? Even you said that, Oscar. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like the gatekeeping aspect of it, got it. Is just sometimes we just have to let things be. And bringing back Dennis's episode again, just like, is something entertaining to you?
Sure. Even
if there might be some things that you might personally think are wrong or maybe inaccurate or whatever, were you still entertained by it? Did you still enjoy it?
You have to be allowed to experiment in low stakes environments.
Yes.
Or else you're going to experiment in high stakes environments because you can't stop people from experimenting.
Right.
It's true.
And I feel like books are probably like the lowest form of what's a good word? Influence to people. Like, so if you write something that's off, well, like nowadays, like I think more influential things would be like TikToks or like Instagrams or like video stuff.
Like videos more ubiquitous.
Yeah, right. Like the stuff you see online all the time. Like, I'm not saying books don't have influence. I'm just saying people don't go to it as much because it's not immediate.
They don't hold as much weight as it used to.
Back in the day, for sure.
They don't have the same market share.
Yeah. It's still $1 billion like
industry.
Yeah. So it's a weird thing with the idea that we can't do if we are not. And like my main character is Saleo. She was based heavily on the attributes of my mother, not my mother specifically, but the attributes I saw growing up. Fearless. Yeah, always moving forward, never giving up despite all the things that came to her in her life and everything.
Laughing along the way.
Yeah, and still being happy. Mm-hmm. I mean, my God, I could talk about my mom and her stories, and just it's tragic, but it's wonderful that she still perseveres. Like, and that's one thing I wanted to display in this character because I had that example, because I had a very good example of what a good, strong female character can be with it being, I don't even say earned, but with it coming to fruition through the stuff that she went through, mm-hmm. And that's why I feel like I can write about this, because I've witnessed it, because I've experienced it, because I've cried and laughed with my mother throughout all my life. And now I just want to play homage to her. Mm-hmm. And honestly, that's one of the biggest influences.
Well, let's say you hadn't done any of that. Do you still think that you could understand enough to write it?
Yeah, no, I do think. Yeah. I think it's better because I have written it, but I don't think it's stronger. It's stronger, yeah. But I still think that I could have, just from influences from all the stuff that I've seen and done. Mm-hmm. I still think that I had other good female role models too. Yeah. But it's just better because, and now it's a thank you to her, and now that's why I do it. So
I'm curious for both of you, like what instances of something that you flagged in your own brain as like, this is me writing something that I'm not. felt most difficult, most fulfilling. They don't have to be the same character.
Sure.
These can be different characters, like most difficult, most fulfilling. And also that you've maybe struggled with or made some mistakes with that you're like, I can't really undo that, or like maybe I would do it differently if I started over, but I'm not starting over. Like, and that could be 3 different examples.
I'm going to start with fulfilling.
Sure.
Because I do have a character that one of my primary characters in my Conquering Chronicles story. He's very much I don't want to say lawful neutral type character, because he does fit more like the soldier archetype, but at the same time, he's just very grounded also and also very spiritual, which is hard to imagine like all of those traits being in one individual. But I say fulfilling for this character because whether or not it's the chicken or the egg, whether or not I started writing him because I, in a form of therapy, like wanted a better relationship with like being responsible for my emotions, or if I learned that it's possible from that character, I don't know. That's probably one of my favorite like examples of what you were saying, is that I got to a point of I was learning from this character as I was writing them. And to me, like that's like the therapy in a way, which is just a fun byproduct of being a writer.
It's a testing lab that's in your mind. That's Tesla did that,
Yes. I mean, I'm Tesla.
Wireless energy. Yeah.
But that's definitely one of my favorite things about, writing what I have not been, is not being for a time a person that was responsible with my emotions. Yeah. And I've come a long way since then. And this character I think has helped immensely. But then one of the most difficult things is actually writing characters that have traits that I dislike, and like letting that aversion, let's say, like thrive in them, but not making them like an evil character. Like I have a specific character she's arrogant. She's like fiery. She says things that I would never say. But at the same time, like I eventually had to let myself have fun with it because it is something that I'm not. And have I had a tendency to do this every once in a while? Yeah. Because I'm human. And so seeing the human in that character, who is also a human actually, just also gave me a place to accept this kind of person.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Like
and
in real life.
And to see them more. No alanga dikameme. Like, and so I forget what the third question was, but
where you've maybe made mistakes where you're like, if I could go back, I might do that differently.
A Shava for me.
Sure.
Just because it's definitely a ridiculed and like abused child almost. Like not physically, sorry, mentally.
Emotionally.
And emotionally too. Yeah. I've never had that in my life, so it was very difficult. And like, I don't think I did the best with her. Mm-hmm. I think it just made her like a token, like punching bag for people just to like somebody to poop on.
For me to poop on.
Oh, triumph. But like for me, that was a big one because like I'm definitely gonna handle her better, I think, because her motivations and like what she's gonna do needs to be not just like I'm the evil bad guy, because she feels like
vindictive.
Right. She feels like an anime character, bad guy, villain sometimes.
Like the like not as great kinds of anime.
Yeah,
Because
like
you just never had a chance to explore the depths of that character in a way. And over time, you've been able to see her more and see her for who she is. Yeah. And obviously you can still tell character is my favorite.
Yeah. Well, you've helped me through some of that too.
Sure.
So, yeah. It's one of those things where like, the more we do, the better we become. And that's the only thing we can ask for sometimes.
Yeah, you've got to be, this is one of the things I hate about the gatekeeping is you're not allowed to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And if you're not allowed to make mistakes, you will never learn.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And not to like, again, like you've said before many times, like you've got to be a little bit humble though to accept that you have made a mistake.
Right. Which is why I asked you guys to like identify for yourselves.
Yeah.
Like, what did I make a mistake?
Tell me
with?
what I do wrong. I needed someone to tell me.
Because I don't have much published, the reason why I don't feel like I can truly answer that is because I don't have a lot that I can't change right now.
Right.
Like kind of, it's just nothing that's anyways seen. Though.
Yeah.
So you can still take the chance to fix that.
One thing I have done is for a while, I thought that plot points that I wrote at a younger age, thought they were trash. Like, oh my God, trash. I'm never going to use that because it's borderline cringy. But then I took some time to really think about the world and the plot points that I had. And I was like, oh, I can use this. So that's the only example I have right now. Actually, not the only. I'm sure I've made plenty of mistakes in my writing. But
the next time we do this, you're going to have them all written down and we'll.
Sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But Oscar, what about you? What are your 3 things? What are your mistakes?
Yeah.
I'd say, let's say most fulfilling. I might, that's difficult because I've hit the space where there are a lot of characters that fit that.
Maybe originally, what was the first one that really felt that way?
I want to say probably Koya because, I don't know. You know what? No, I'm not going to say Koya because she was played by a player character.
Sure.
Like she's a player character, and I had a lot to draw from that. So I want to go with like a character that's just me, just all me.
Sure.
Oh man.
And I kind of want to say some of my characters that I sort of set up early on to be villains, like Gilbertson or whatever. He's just an asshole.
Yeah.
He's a narcissist. And I'm like, yeah, but like I don't hate writing him because I get his motivations. I get the areas, his missteps, his crimes that he conveniently just doesn't include in his self-narrative. It's like, well, you had to do something. It's like, you sold your crew.
Right.
Damn.
But yeah, I mean, I just wrote this scene where I'm ridiculously proud of it. And there's this, did the whole thing. I was like, do I do this captain of this ship? No, I'm going to do the lookout. They're going to see the most action. They're going to know what's going on. And he's going to have nothing but good things to think about this captain who I'm then going to kill. But I was just like, I love this character, and he's not a villain, but he's on the like not the good side or whatever.
Yeah.
But he's not really aware of that. He's just like he's living in pure like a competence porn bubble.
Sure.
And like he's like, my captain is great, my crew is great, we're all great professionals, we all know what we're doing, we all respect each other, and this is my family, Right. And he was just fun to write for like 10 pages. I'm just like, boom, introduce the character. I just wrote him.
Nice.
But I'd say most problematic, most difficult, where I'm like, I might take some things back. There are elements of both Koya and Ajiban that I would like. It doesn't make as much sense for where Koya is from to be like, Inca refugee. It can work.
Sure.
And then Ajiban again. Then these are both diverse characters, like Inca heritage for Koya, and Ajiban being like African ex-slave. And I'm like, I could have done a little bit more research on all that. I don't think I really made any gross missteps with them.
Sure.
But I'm sort of like, I wish I would have put more effort in on the front end. I'm putting more in as I go, but
just to make them more rounded as a character.
Just more like to understand the cultures they came from a bit better.
Yeah.
But like documentation from those periods is spotty. A lot of it's from European perspectives, but it's still there. And I didn't look as hard into it as I could have.
It's very humble of you. And I mean that seriously, like, to know that like you could have made them a little bit more fleshed out, I guess.
And so I'm pleased when people tell me that I did a great job with them. I could have done better, but I'm glad if I did good enough.
Yeah.
But I'd say Roy was really difficult. That's the difficult one. That's the third.
Oh,
because I got his vendetta from his character sheet that was created by someone else. And it didn't make a damn bit of sense to me. And I really struggled with whether or not to get rid of it for the novelization or to keep it.
Yeah.
And the only reason I decided to keep it was, okay, just because I don't understand it doesn't mean it's not a human thing to do.
It's fair.
Can I think of a human way to approach this? And yeah, I really struggled with it, but I think I really nailed it.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm that's all I'm going to say with that. Cause like, you know, you guys don't know, you haven't like, that's book two shit.
Yep. It's true. Whack.
So yeah, I don't know. Like that's the kind of thing, that's the kind of conversation I like having with this, writing what you're not conversation.
Yeah.
Like those three questions to me are like kind of some of the main meat of what makes this topic interesting.
If
to me.
we ever get some of our guests on again, it'd be interesting to take some of these major topics and the questions we've been asking each other and ask them, because I'd be curious to see what they think too. But of course, that's for future us, and right now, past us or present us doesn't have any more time. So
it's true.
Yeah, we've been.
But this is fun. I would say this is actually we've waited to do this topic for so long.
Yeah,
and it's a character one.
It is. So I'm biased to love it.
All our babies are the favorite.
Yeah, I genuinely just love how we explored this, and how there's still so much room to explore it even further, or to see how other minds dive into it. But for now, that is all we have. I would say that is all that we wrote. Thanks for joining.
They wrote. Sorry.
But thanks for joining us. We are Bards and Balladeers. I'm Kate.
I'm Rio.
I'm Oscar.
See you next time.
Bye.
Peace.
Later.